You here? Joanna! What are you doing? What are you doing here? Little American girl. Daisy! Go get him, Daisy. Run, Evan. Run. Go get him, Daisy. What's going on? Go get him. Get him, Daisy. Get him. Get him. Get him, Daisy. Get him. Get him, Daisy. Get him. Daisy. Get Evan. Get him. Get him. Get him. Get Evan. One Saturday morning, you think it's safe, but wait till danger occurs. Just wait. No! Help! That's a big bad wolf!
Daisy, it's Hedgehog.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today there has been a murderer. Matty O'Brien has been accused for murdering a dead hedgehog. Today on Family Court. Today we are interviewing the mother of the murderer, Pinky O'Brien. So, what do you think of this?
Well, he's always a loser. Didn't bring much friends to the house. What the hell? Get away.
Suspected her of killing.
I never expected her.
Being a murderer. What the hell? Get her up. Take it up. Ladies and gentlemen, Pinky O'Brien.
Here's someone, the only one in town who is innocent. Daisy. Her name is Daisy Richards. She's a witness. Today on Family Court, we'll be discussing the What's that? By God, it's the hedgehog. The break. We'll be back with more Family Court.
Shabby daddy.
Ma'am, excuse me, ma'am.
Ma'am.
How may I help you? Have you ever seen a...
Who the hell are you?
I am, have you ever seen a, have you ever met Matty O'Brien, the harmless dog, just off the book?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Judge Williams. Score is ding. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Judge Williams. The score is in ding.
No! Today on Family Court, we have 3 witnesses. This is Florence Nightingale.
Hello, little camera cutie boy.
Peggy Walsalot.
Hi, little camera boy. I let you know. American beavers, much you stop. Do the
Thank you, Peggy.
No.
Then finally we have Fred. Hello, Fred.
Hi.
Thank you, Fred. Witness on the stand is Fred. Fred, what are you doing, boy? Sit down. Fred, have you ever met Matty O'Brien?
Well, there's one time I was gardening. She came over. She stole my flowers.
Really?
Daisy that was. And then Maddie came over, started laughing at me.
Fred, has Matty ever hurt you?
Banana. Yes. No. Well, one time, I bought a donut. She asked for it. I said no.
Okay, thank you, Fred. You've been very helpful. Hello, Peggy. How are you this evening?
She stole my flowers.
Wait, Peggy, let's start over. So, I take it you know Maddie O'Brien.
2, 10. God damn it! She broke my children.
Peggy.
Little dog. Well, she ran over there. She was humping my children one day, and I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it. That Daisy.
Wait, Peggy, just answer the questions. So, Maddie's hurt your children before?
No. She bought them pizza, and they didn't like it. Pepperoni.
Peggy, that's besides the point. Is Maddie a violent person? Yes or no?
No.
Thank you. That is all. Hello, Florence.
Hello.
Now, you know Maddie?
Yeah.
Maddie O'Brien?
Yeah, my name's Florence. She always comes over. She treats my children right.
Oh, really?
She does it for work. She works.
Oh, really, Florence? Florence, would you mind me asking, has Maddie ever hurt your children?
Well, I say no. She's the sweetest girl I ever met.
Really?
Every day, when the sun's out bright, I can hear her singing to my children.
Okay, Florence. Has she ever hurt anything in the yard? Snails, slugs, flies?
Well, she is a wild person. It's hard for her life to compete.
Okay, Florence, this isn't a counseling session. Just answer the questions, yes or no.
No, she would never hurt me in any way.
The question was, would she hurt flies or slugs?
Well, that is my property, and she understands.
Okay, thank you, Florence. That'll be all. You've been absolutely no help. Thank you.
My name is...
Hello, my name is Judge Williams, and today, Maddie O'Brien has been proven guilty.
Maddie! Here's Maddie O'Brien in jail, where the scum of the earth should be kept. Today, after the decision, we found Judge Williams dead. We have no idea who could have done it. Why does Daisy have blood all over her? Oh well, I wonder if Maddie broke out of jail. Maybe it was her mother. You'll know next time on Family Court.
Today on Family Court, supermodel Daisy Richards is getting married to the murder! She did it! She did it! Murder!
Anyway, Daisy, how do you feel about getting married?
I didn't do it. It was...
Well,
I never been married. But...
it was her!
Yeah, it was the one over there, the stupid one.
Oh, here's the suspect, folks.
She...
Hello. And today on Family Court, Bob took a little field trip to the wedding of the stars. He went to California and witnessed a murder. It was the wedding of Daisy Richards and the Hedgehog. We have reason to believe that it was Maddie O'Brien who killed the Hedgehog. Here are some clips that led us to believe.
Here's reason number one why we think Maddie could be the Wellsville murderer. Notice how she's not socializing. She's off in her own corner doing her own thing. That's murder trait number one. Reason number two. When I interviewed her, she didn't have much to say about Bob the Hedgehog. What? What in the hell's going on over there? Oh well, that's just the superstar. Reason number 3. Maddie is talking to
84.
Very lovely.
I was 84 in February.
Wow. Where were you born?
In Waitsfield.
Waitsfield, Vermont?
Waitsfield, Vermont. In a farmhouse. And the house is still standing, but of course I don't own it now because my folks sold the farm, you know, when Dad wasn't able to farm, so he sold everything. But the house is still there. And when I went by it yesterday, we had a big woodshed. You know what I mean by woodshed?
Shed of wood in it, firewood?
That is correct, for the wintertime.
Yeah.
Oh, so the wood wouldn't get wet.
So it wouldn't get wet. You're right on the ball.
So this is close by then, if you drove by it the other day.
Yes, it was in Waitsfield.
Oh.
Yeah. And sometime I want to stop and, you know, visit, because what used to be the woodshed, that every summer when we cut the wood for the winter, I would, you know, hold the end of the wood that's going to be cut off, you know.
Yeah.
Then I'd throw it in the woodshed. Then after the wood was all thrown in the shed, then I had to pile it. And I started piling wood probably when I was about 6 years old.
Wow.
Whoa.
Because my dad was alone on the farm, so I didn't lift big stuff at that time. You know, big chunk of wood that we had for the furnace for the big stove, but just pile the stuff up.
Yeah.
And that way, by piling it up, 2 things happen. What do you gain by piling up wood?
More
Muscle.
space.
Yeah. And what did you say?
You get some muscle on it.
Then there's 3 things then.
Drier wood.
Right. It dries, and you get more space because it's piled up.
Right.
So you asked me what I was saying.
Okay, when you were growing up, like thinking of when you were younger, thinking of what you would do when you were older, like as far as an occupation, what did you want to be? Like a lot of little kids say, I want to be a fireman or...
Well, I was sickly most of my early life, stomach troubles and stuff like that. And I don't think I ever thought of, because being a farm boy, that was it. And I never thought of even going to college when I was real young, going to business college, which I later did go to business college and graduated from the old Burlington Business College, which now has a different name or something. Yeah. But so I don't think I particularly wanted anything. Only I remember very distinctly back in the 30s and 40s, and even the 27 flood, I said, oh my goodness, at the end of this century, it changes from 1999 to 2000. Oh, but I'll never live to see 1999, but here I am. Yeah.
So how have things changed between like then and...
Tremendously.
Tremendously.
Because I grew up in the horse and buggy age.
Yeah.
Then my dad bought a Model T car for the big sum of, when it was brand new, of $600. And we was the only person on our side of the Mad River that had a car, and all the neighbors. Now, lovely. What's he wants a car for? Why don't he want to take the horse to go 3 miles to the village to get a loaf of bread or something? You know? They thought we was crazy.
Yeah. So as far as like values, what has changed? What am I trying to say here? Like, people probably treated their elders differently than they do now, like younger kids or no?
They treated them more like a family. Everybody lived together. Grandpa, grandma.
Oh, really?
In fact, I remember when my great-grandmother was 97 years old, which was the year of 1927. You remember, by reading history, what happened? That'll be the last one you take. No. it was way, way back in horse and buggy stages, and he was used to it.
Yeah.
And
So like your whole family, aunts and uncles, and grandparents all lived in the same house.
no,
Oh no.
we had Grandma Loveland come in the summer and visit for a while.
Yeah.
And she stayed with us almost every summer for a while. And then she went to Brookfield, Vermont. You heard of Brookfield,
Yeah.
Vermont?
We got the floating bridge there.
Yes, that was my clue I was going to give you. You beat me to it. And they lived about a mile from the floating bridge. And she would, when she was younger, she'd walk from the farmhouse up to the floating bridge and spend most all day catching fish.
So how old's the floating bridge then?
Huh?
How old's the floating bridge then?
That's a good question. I always remember it as the floating bridge, so it goes back at least a few years.
Well, yeah, at least a few.
Yeah.
At least a few.
And of course, it sets on. If I ask you, why is it called a floating bridge? What would be your first answer?
Because it floats.
Boy, are you sharp on the ball. Well, what makes it float then?
I don't know.
Well, you're right on the topic.
The kind of wood it's made out of.
That's part of it, yes. It's made out of oak barrels, and they dry. And you take something that's dry, hits together,
It floats.
you don't sink.
Right.
And that's why they made it that way. So,
When you were growing up, like as a teenager, what was acceptable behavior and what wasn't? Like, what was sort of acceptable?
the acceptable behavior was to honor your father and your mother.
Okay.
And also, when you went to school, don't sass or swear to the teacher, because that wasn't nice to do.
So how much of that did you follow?
Huh?
How much of that did you follow?
In 101%.
101%? All right.
Yeah. Now, not all kids did that at times, but yeah.
So that's probably one thing that's changed a lot because now kids are all like talking back to the teachers and
I know.
yeah.
My wife was a Russian teacher. Her parents both came from the old country, one from Poland, one from Russia, and she had an awful time getting used to, she was a teacher,
Yeah.
and she had an awful time getting used to the, getting up and walking around and talking and sassing and throwing books at each other. But all schools had, they'll say nobody's perfect.
There's one in every crowd.
Sometimes more than one. Yeah.
What was the craziest thing you've ever done?
The craziest moment for you.
There were so many, it's hard to tell. I fooled you on that one. Well, one of the funny things, I used to trap, like muskrat, mink, and so on. And one day I was hurrying around to tend to my trap line, and it had a little sleet at night. And boy, I hit that sleet, and how do you think I landed? Right in the water, right splash in the water.
You fall in your own trap?
Almost. And I heard the back, and the only wet I had was the seat of my pants was wet. But I'm used to, being out in the, we had a sugar place. And you were one of you folks some
Sugar on snow?
Yeah. Have you ever seen, the sap run from the tree and then they boil it down and evaporate it and so on? Of course, now they have very modern equipment compared to what they had years ago. Because years and years and years ago, from the Indian stage, they boiled the sap down in the big kettle. And they kept putting wood underneath, keeping the fire, And finally, it got to the right consistency for syrup or sugar, whatever they wanted.
What was it like to live during World War II?
It was rough. I went for my federal government, physical exam to be in the service. And how much you think I weighed when I tipped the scale stripped naked? 200 men in the whole group and 1 or 2 doctors and so on. What do you think I weighed?
Let's see, 160 about maybe back then.
140. How much?
87 pounds was automatically kicked off. No questions asked.
Awesome.
I tipped the scales naked at 83 pounds. And they looked at me.
How old were you?
Well, I was, at that time, about 20, between 19
Wow.
and 20. And they didn't say it, but you could tell a little look that they wanted men, not boys. You get the point.
Yeah.
Yeah. 83 pounds. So I got automatically 4F without trying. Then they turned around and helped me on education. So I could, take special studies, and then with the shortage of men in the war, I had the privilege of teaching in small, in not colleges or high school, but in grade school, while there was just a shortage of help, which I did that a little bit.
Well, that's nice.
And then you've heard of Elder Hostel.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm still active in Elder Hostel, because the old saying is, when you once get to learn something, you keep on wanting to learn.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm active in Elder Hostel. And on the 5th of June, I leave for Bismarck, North Dakota, to attend my 18th Elder Hostel.
Wow.
I've been to 2 in Hawaii, right on the island of Hawaii, to visit there because I had a cousin that was in the Navy. And his boat was one of the 2 boats that was in Pearl Harbor 24 hours before the bombing. And his commanding officer told those 2 boats, the navigator or whoever was in charge, to go due north so many knots. They had no idea why they were doing it. It didn't make sense. They weren't heading towards Hawaii. They were heading towards Alaska. And they said, something's goofy.
Yeah.
Well, they had a hunch that something was going to happen. So why his 2 Navy boats were saved, I don't know.
Wow.
But his boats went north.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you
And
just barely missed it.
He just missed it. And then
24 hours before. Huh?
24 hours before. And when he called back to New York, his wife was told to immediately pack and head to the States on boats. And then when the husband, when the wife arrived back to California, she called her mother by telephone. And of course the mother didn't know that she was safe on the way, to California. The mother fainted dead away from some surprise that her daughter was alive.
Wow.
Because of the bomb.
That's great.
I don't want to ramble too much because I don't want to throw you off.
Oh, no, that's fine.
That's what we're looking for anyways,
Yeah.
the rambling.
Okay.
We just want some stories. Do you have any siblings?
No.
No? No siblings?
No, I was married, but something was, I figured we couldn't have children.
Oh, no, siblings, like brothers and sisters?
Yes, one brother by adoption.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So you were married, you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. What was her name?
Tatiana
Ooh, how do you spell that?
Sandra. Tatiana.
And she was from Russia? She was really from
Her,
Russia?
her father and mother were Russia and Poland, yeah.
How do you spell her last name?
Well, her maiden name, I have forgotten it. And I probably couldn't pronounce it if I didn't even remember. But she was born in New York City at a hospital. But her parents both came from the old country.
How did you meet her?
That is a good question, and then I'll give you a very, I was running a small tourist home in Stouffville. And the Boy Scout leader lived next door.
Yeah.
And he wanted somebody to come in to train adults for putting on like a minstrel or a show to make money. And when he applied through this agency in New York City or Boston or somewhere, she was the one that got the call. So she came in to meet him and found how he lived. And then she says to him, after they chatted and so on, he said, we'll be working together about a month on doing the days, but he says, she said, well, why can I stay? Well, he said, my next door neighbor has a small tourist home. And maybe he would consider taking a woman to stay there. And he came over one day, he said, I heard, here's a rumor for you. And I just went, no, don't tell her a funny look, but I finally broke down and she stayed for the showing, and we became friends, and then we became engaged, and then we became married.
Wow, how old were you when you got married?
Oh, that's a good question. I got so old. Oh, I was late in life. Very late. Oh, I was probably not 30.
40 years old. Good age. Not too young. Not too young. Yeah.
Now, how are you folks from?
We're from Montpelier.
Oh.
It's just down the road there. Yeah.
From school or college, or
The high school.
from up here?
Yeah.
Yeah, both of us are here. Everyone here goes there. Everyone that came today, we're all from
I see.
Montpelier. Yeah.
What's your fondest memory?
Maybe having the car during the Depression.
Yeah, that would be nice. So, were you affected by the Depression at all? Probably, yeah.
Yes, we had the A coupon books. You got so many coupons in the book. That was for gasoline. And that had to last, let's say, for 6 months or maybe a year. I don't remember the time. And if you run out, you either had a very tough story in the shoes, or you didn't have gas.
Yeah.
You had to figure it out. So, but we had no trouble. I mean, it's something that, sure, you didn't like it,
Right.
but you got used to it and you had to do it. Because if you spent them all one day or one week on the trip, then you wouldn't do anywhere else.
Right.
Yeah. And I've been active with people ever since then. I mean, distant people, like I'm doing my senior companion people.
Yeah.
And on Tuesdays, I've been here for 18 years, right here in this building for 18 years volunteering.
Wow. So, you don't live here then, right?
No, I live in Whitestone.
Okay, you live in Whitestone.
Yeah.
So what kind of, sorry to interrupt you, what were you going to say? I was going to ask you what kind of volunteer work you do here.
Anything except in lifting. In other words, let's say you two were patients here, and you fell out of your chair and you tipped over and landed on your head. I couldn't legally lift them
Yeah.
because you might have a broken spine.
Right.
You might have a broken hip. So I'd rush to get help and say, one or two are down, they've fallen out of the chairs, you better get the helmet, boom, that'll be it. But so we have rules to go by, but for 18 years, I haven't been kicked out.
Well, that's good. What was your greatest fear growing up, if you remember it?
Probably. This will sound kind of sicky, but being sick and vomiting at the unpleasant situation. And the most touchy one, I took dear friends that were Catholics, which I'm not, but we still remember. We went to New York City to the famous big Catholic church. And when I was heading in that church, all of a sudden I thought I was going to vomit in a minute. I said a quick prayer. Nothing happened. It was unbelievable because I was so sick. I thought I'm going to vomit right in this little cathedral.
Yeah?
But I didn't.
Well,
So that's a funny thing, but it was probably, yeah. And I enjoy my work here. I mean, each day is different. I didn't expect this, but I'm glad you both came.
yeah. What kind of music did you listen to growing up?
Very little,
Very little.
because all we had was the original batteries, A, B, and C batteries for the radio, before we had electricity. And we didn't get electricity until 1927.
Also, the batteries are hard to keep putting in the...
Yes, if you used it too much, you warm out.
Yeah.
And you should only listen to a few certain things when you had the battery. And also, the old telephone always had batteries too.
Telephones had batteries?
When Lindbergh made his trip, non-stop trip across the ocean, the local telephone operator, we had two sets of general lines. If the general line was 3 2s, like 1 2 1 2 1 2, that meant there was a fire because we had no fire department. And that would call the men to grab the milk pails and head to either where the fire was,
Right.
because at that time there was no fire station. So that was one of the unusual things.
So that's like Morse code? Is that what they used?
No, they used the telephone only with communication. So when Lindbergh had the celebration in Paris, right after he landed, and they had hundreds and hundreds of people there, hurrah! You could hear the roar of the crowd for Lindbergh, and I think that was, I thought, boy, that was super.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you listen to any music like now?
Very little, because I'm so tied up with my senior companion. Say, I'm here on Tuesdays. Then the Mondays, I see a man and a woman not married, but they've known each other for years, and they're quite elderly. So I see them on Monday. And then on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, well, Thursday I'm here. So I divide my whole time up.
So you don't have much time.
I don't have much time to myself, but that's all right.
What do you think about the modern music?
I'd rather hear a chipmunk chirp and the birds sing.
Oh, that's the modern music for you, huh?
It has a much sweeter tone, I think. No, I'm probably sarcastic on that, but you get the point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Hawaii the only traveling you've ever done?
Hey, Don?
Hawaii, when you went to Hawaii, was that the only traveling?
No. When I came back from Hawaii, I did 1 week in Newfoundland, Canada. And I've done 1 week in the Holy Land and also in Egypt.
Wow.
See, I want to do it before I get over.
Mm-hmm.
And as I said a minute ago, I think, on June 5, I leave for Bismarck, North Dakota, for my 18th out of hospital.
This is the first time in North Dakota?
Yeah. I've been to South Dakota back in 1950. But why I chose this one is, we get a big catalog which you wouldn't see them at any of the libraries, but we who have been regular get the about 4 seasons, fall, spring, and
Yeah.
so then we choose where we want to go. We can't change the catalog to have one place 1 week later or 1 week early.
Right.
I got something in my hand. But by choosing the catalog, then that's why I decided to go to Bismarck in June, because first I'm going to learn a lot about Teddy Roosevelt. And my dad, when my dad was going, he thought Teddy Roosevelt was it. And at that time he was.
Yeah,
very,
he was.
He was very famous for his outdoor activities and stuff like that. And that's what my dad liked of it.
Yeah.
So I had read a little bit, but this time when I go out to Bismarck at the College of Mary, I'm going to be just enjoying it, right on the campus with the whole group and so on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Oh, Seven like flowers.
Yeah, you guys have a nice view here.
Is it?
It's beautiful. When you were growing up, did your father expect you to take over the farm when you got older? Or?
No, because I was too weak.
Yeah.
Would you ever want to go around and just get close up to the patient's face?
This camera?
Yeah. Would you?
Alright.
What types of things do we have today that you wish you had then,
I
like
can
as
still
far
do
as
that.
technology goes?
Anything? Because I may have to make, no, I may have to make pictures out of that because this is not working. So just in here.
Assassinate and stuff?
No.
No? Or do you have a list or do I just say what it is?
Okay, so this is Barbara Abbott.
Oh, can I take this list?
Well, can you read it though?
Yes.
Okay.
This is Barbara Abbott, ladies and gentlemen. Barbara Abbott.
I really love you.
And it's either Laura Mary, Marianne Parker.
Marianne Parker.
Oh, my camera's not working, so I'm forcing him. There, two down here. Thank you so much.
Laura Mitchell. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. And then over here. We just want to get one more picture, Nellie.
Hey, Nellie. How are you?
I've got my teeth in.
Oh, that's great.
Beautiful. This one she did.
99 years old.
Pictures from
this
Elsie.
one. This one just a few weeks
She's
ago.
99 years old.
Wow.
That a few weeks ago.
This is her newest piece.
Wow. It's wonderful. She was so full of spirit. It's so great.
Yeah.
There's one of her other pieces. There's another one. Under.
Can you fit?
This is Nate.
Ellen Chamberlain?
Over here.
Break the camera.
Hey there, Ellen. You got kind of a little trap set up in the doorway. Is that to keep the nurses out? Hey, nice to meet you.
Green.
Hi, Helen Green.
Pictures out of the video. That's my camera.
Smile for the camera.
And Holly?
Yeah.
Who's this?
This is Ruth Jones.
Ruth.
Hey, Rue.
And then maybe I can make. And let's see.
What's the matter with it?
I don't know.
By a large man.
And Gertrude Vienne is the woman in the green sweater that they're doing.
Yeah.
Don't want to break your head.
Oh.
She's beautiful. Beautiful.
Oh, come on.
No, No. Oh, here's Doc.
And then,
Hello.
Steady camera.
Nice to meet you. How's your day going, Lou?
What?
How are you doing today, Lou?
Pretty good.
That's good to hear. Good to hear. You got your story down on paper now?
you should have written it.
Yeah.
You gonna drink your cocoa?
Rena. Hey, Rena. Over here. Over here. Oh,
Hug you, pal.
hey, Rena.
Hug.
Hey, Catherine.
Look at her, she's blushing.
Oh.
I'm not very good.
You're doing fine.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Need
Hey,
to get a
Wally.
picture of you, Wally. 'Cause my
Hey, there's
camera's
a nice
not
shot.
working.
There he is. Nice to meet you, Wally. You got any last words? Before we leave?
Last famous word,
Famous words.
save your money.
Save your money. All right.
That's my advice.
Thank you.